Seattle beat Arizona 31-21 this past weekend. Seattle's now 6-3. They're first in the NFC West. Arizona, on the flip side, is 3-6, and they are last in that division. Once again, I say this like every week, it feels like, Kyler Murray failed to deliver in a big moment once again. And I'm surprised that today, Tuesday, as I talk to you guys, that Cardinals head coach Kliff Kingsbury still has a job. I thought for sure. I watched this game live. I'm like, this dude's getting fired. Nothing personal against Kliff Kingsbury. But it's not working. And Sunday was an absolute failure for the Cardinals offense. Arizona's offense was a disaster. False starts, dropped passes, poor pass protection. The offensive line was horrible. Missed reads by Kyler Murray, which I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's not getting good coaching. It was so bad. And whenever an entire offense falls apart, it's a failure in leadership and a failure in coaching. Kliff Kingsbury is failing as a head coach and a leader, and his quarterback, Kyler Murray, isn't much better. Kyler Murray, like, the thing he's got to get criticized for, he doesn't rally his troops. I have talked through the years, some of my favorite quarterbacks are guys who maybe they're not the most talented, but they bring the best out of the teammates around them. Kyler never does any of that, man. He never, ever, ever steps up as a leader when you need to see it. And, you know, Arizona had 12 penalties in this game. Their quarterback, Kyler Murray, he's got a $230 million contract. Kyler got outplayed by Geno Smith, who Geno Smith is making $3.5 million this year. He does not have a long-term contract. Getting outplayed by that guy, if you're Kyler Murray, is a disgusting tragedy. Like, it's not a knock against Geno Smith. It's bad optics, man. We pay you to play really well and deliver, and Kyler is not. It's got to be said. Kyler had a fumble. He was sacked 5 times. The offensive line is struggling. Kyler Murray missed a couple reads. He had a throw where a slant was open, and he took a bad sack instead. Arizona had back-to-back false starts. A 3rd and 8 became a 3rd and 18. Robbie Anderson dropped a pass on 3rd down. There was even a trick play. They ran on 3rd and 17. They ran a double pass, and both passes were forward. That's an illegal forward pass. Like, oh my gosh, Arizona looked so disorganized, and they lacked details, which I've said about them all year. This was the culmination of everything that's gone wrong so far this year for Arizona coming together. And the difference between Seattle and Arizona is just coaching. I mean, I don't think talent-wise Seattle and Arizona are that far apart. They got talented receivers. They got good players all over the field. But it's the small details that matter. And Arizona is so bad at the small details. And they all add up. And think about it. This year was supposed to be the Arizona Cardinals year. The Rams have a Super Bowl hangover. The 49ers lost their quarterback, Trey Lance, week 2 with an injury. Seattle lost Russell Wilson. Now, Seattle's been better than anyone expected, right? Geno Smith has played outstanding. But Arizona has had an opportunity this year with the rest of the division in a compromised position. And they can't capitalize. In fact, Arizona is they're not even close. They're last in their division. You got to get a new head coach if you are Arizona. You got Kyler Murray, a quarterback who I've been critical of the guy. He's not an impressive leader. He doesn't deliver in big moments, but he has talent. Like, I can't imagine how good he would look with Sean Payton coaching him. I would think a great offensive coach could get good stuff out of him. I would love it if Arizona hired Eric Bieniemy, the head coach out of Kansas City. Like, that creative play design, that mind working with Kyler Murray, the sky's the limit. So I want another coach in Arizona. I'm not hating on Kliff, but he's made his millions. He's got a great house. He can afford to lose his job. And when Kyler Murray's throwing to DeAndre Hopkins and can't look great, I mean, can you imagine if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers had DeAndre Hopkins? They would have won. They would have beat the Lions this past weekend. So Arizona is a disaster. They have overpaid Kyler Murray, but now they're stuck with him, and they got to get a new head coach in Arizona because you got to find some way to see if you can fix what's wrong. Kyler Murray is underperforming. The team is a disaster. Their details are awful. They're getting outcoached every single week. And at this point, the only solution is Arizona has to fire Kliff Kingsbury, bring in a new coach. I would throw out Eric Bieniemy. the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, would be, I think, a brilliant fit to be a play designing, play caller, whatever the word is, to put Kyler Murray in good situations week in and week out. Another name. What if they just pay Sean Payton like $100 million? I think you got to trade the rights for him from New Orleans. But, man, the problem right now in Arizona is Kliff Kingsbury. It pains me to say that. I root for him as a person. He's kind of a fun guy in interviews, but, man, is he doing a poor job in Arizona. And against Seattle, that was the prime example. They were a disaster on Sunday. And it's coaching. Like, the problem is coaching and leadership, and you're not getting rid of Kyler, so the only other move you can make is replace the coach and get a better one who can hopefully put Kyler in better positions to be successful and make sure he's not missing reads on important key downs.